Most businesses think that they have a lead problem, that they need more leads, when in actuality, what they have is a follow-up problem. They don't have a lead management system. Hey guys, welcome back to an exciting episode here on Marketing Mondays here on the Soaring High Podcast Network. I'm your host, Noel Charisma with Soaring High Marketing Solutions, your one-stop shop for all things marketing, advertising, promotions, entrepreneurship. Our goal is to go ahead and work with business owners, whether you have a med spa, you're a dentist, you're a chiropractor, you're a roofer, contractor, restaurant owner, you name it. We want to work with you to go ahead and partner with you with your business to go ahead and install a complete marketing growth system to help you guys build your online presence, generate more traffic, and create and get more leads for your business that turn into actual booked appointments, consultations, and turn into actual revenue for your business. So I have an exciting show for you guys here planned. I'm here on the road, but want to make sure I stay committed to doing this, as well as stay committed to you guys to be able to bring you guys information, insights, knowledge. So as I kick off today's show, super excited show for today. I've been talking to my business owners the past few weeks. And, one thing that I've noticed that I've seen is that most business owners think that they have a lead problem, meaning that they want to run more ads, they want to get more traffic, they want to get more appointments on their schedule. So it's okay, how can we crank this up? How can we ramp up our marketing, our advertising to go ahead and get more jobs, get more consultations, get more deals in the pipeline? How do we fill up our funnel? And that's one of the things that we do, that we specialize here at Soaring High Marketing, is that we want to make sure we're filling the top of the funnel and we're also getting you that deal flow. Because I say lead flow leads to deal flow leads to cash flow. So, just here taking a quick look at my notes. But, the main thing I want to hit you guys on today is that, most business owners think that their biggest problem is lead generation. I talked about lead generation marketing. I talked about in the last episode the life cycle of a lead, the lead flow. And a lot of business owners just care about lead traffic, lead generation. I need more leads. I need more traffic. I need, to run more ads. But after working with a lot of business owners, I realized something is that most business owners don't have a lead problem. What they actually have is a follow-up problem. So when we come in and we install our marketing growth system to your business, what we also do is that we install a lead management system, which is how we're going to follow up. We're going to nurture. We're going to go ahead and then drive conversions, to the leads that we're generating. So what I've seen in the problem is that a lot of business owners have a follow-up problem, or even worse, they have a broken system. And this is how leads fall through the cracks. This is how you have revenue leaks in your business. So on the front end, most businesses just focus on the front end, on the lead generation. They just focus on posting more content, running ads, trying to drive traffic, generate leads, but they forget the most critical aspect is what happens after that lead comes into your ecosystem, after it comes in through the funnel. What's the next step? Who answers the calls? Who responds back? How fast do you respond back to that lead? Because I always say speed to the lead is what wins in today's market, in today's marketplace. So how quickly, do you respond back? Do you have a CRM in place where you can track the leads that are coming in? Are you getting metrics on the lead flow? How many from those leads actually turn to a book call, book consultation? How much does it actually turn to revenue for your business? And do you guys have any automations in place? So once the lead comes in, that they're getting hit, with a phone call, with text, with email, with retargeting ads to ensure that they see you pop up everywhere online now. So we got to have a system. This is why I talk about marketing being a system, because it's not disconnected services. It's all these different services that connected, working together is going to help you grow the system and be able to help you grow and scale your businesses. So, most business owners, they don't have a defined sales process. But once the lead comes in, a business owner comes to me and say, hey, I want to get more leads for my roofing business. I want to get more consultations for my med spa. before we even talk about marketing and advertising, we got to understand what is your business's sales cycle? What is your sales process? How fast you respond to leads, what's your process to, getting the lead to respond to your ad, to then actually showing up to an actual appointment. Are you contacting them? Are you following up with them? Are you confirming the appointment the day of, the day before? Are you going ahead and, getting all the details, being able to pre-qualify them, filter them to ensure that, this is a good lead for your business? Because a lot of times, people, business owner says, no, this doesn't work. Marketing doesn't work. All these are tire kickers. All these are people that, can't pay or afford my services. But it's all about defining, the messaging in your offer, in your ad, and ensuring that we drive the right traffic from the ads to your funnel, to your website, to your landing page. And it all starts with positioning you as the authority in your space to ensure that we're attracting the right people, the qualified people into your funnel, for your business. Because a lot of business owners, they're winging it. They have no sales process, they have no follow-up system, they have no lead management system. So, they're trying just to one call close everyone. And 90% of the time, 98% of the time, most likely, you're not going to be able to do a one call close. People need nurturing. That's why it's important once you collect the name, number, and email, that we have sequences in place to be able to hit them with, valuable information through text or email. We can then repurpose the content, the content, the blogs, the articles that we're creating, for your business as a form of way to nurture and allow our content to be the one that is going to nurture and convert them. We run ads to drive in that cold traffic into our ecosystem, into our funnel. And then it's actually going to be the organic marketing and the content that we have that's going to be able to actually convert that lead. Many people, have it, see it the other way around. They see the reverse. I got to do a lot of organic content, let that bring in people, and then our ads, our funnels, our landing pages is going to convert them. In reality, if you want to grow and scale faster, you got to run paid ads. You got to run paid traffic. You got to go ahead and just do retargeting, running Facebook, Google ad campaigns, local search ads, meta ads, geofencing, geo-targeting ads to ensure that we're filling up the funnel on a daily basis with new leads, new contacts for your business. But ads are only going to be good for a business that already knows their numbers, they have a sales process, and they have a tested and true follow-up system afterwards. Because if you don't have, a sales process, you don't know your numbers, meaning that you don't know how many contacts you need, how many calls you got to make, how many contacts you got to make to actually get a client, in the door and actually closed. You don't know your numbers, you don't have a sales process, you don't have a follow-up system, you don't have a lead management system, then all the marketing we do is just going to go ahead and not convert for you, because everything's just going to fall at the wayside, fall on the side. It's just not going to be able to generate the results that you want. Not because our marketing efforts don't work, it's because once we hand off the lead over to you, the lead goes nowhere. You take a day or two to respond back. You're not getting any automations, any AI integration, any AI outreach with a quick call or text or email. One thing we install in businesses is the missed call text back. If someone calls your business, they don't answer, you don't answer in time, at least they get a text and, 10, 20, 30 seconds later saying, hey, you called us, how can we help you? And then we have the AI to then be able to step in and then be able to kind of having the two-way conversation with that prospect, with that lead, to go ahead and try and, book an appointment with them and, get you an appointment on the calendar. So these are a lot of different things that I'm talking about. Maybe I'm going too fast. Maybe I'm throwing a lot of things at you, but when people want to do marketing and they want to do marketing right, we got to make sure that every aspect of the business is operating at its highest and best form. Because it's not like, okay, lead's gonna come in and you're gonna call them right away and then you're gonna drop everything you have and just attend to that one lead. No, you're running your business, you have other jobs, you have other consultations, you have other appointments lined up. We got to have a system that we can track, measure, convert, and then we optimize the process from there. So especially when you're running ads and you're running cold traffic, people need to be able to get to know you, get to exposure of you. They got to see over and over again. You got to build credibility with them. You got to build rapport. You got to get awareness, and you got to build trust. Without trust online, no one's going to be able to transact with you. That's why having content, organic marketing is key, because the longer a prospect, the longer a lead interacts and engages with your content, the more likely they're going to convert into an actual customer or a client for your business. That's why I said we bring in leads through cold traffic, cold leads into the funnel through paid ads, and then your organic marketing, your organic content is what's going to be able to nurture and follow up with them, because they're going to see, the reels you're posting, your carousels, your images. If you do any type of long form video like this, podcasting, video, information, answering questions, your blog content, all that stuff. Your website's optimized. It has the keywords. It has what they're looking for. All these different things. They're seeing you across the various social platforms. And that over time, the more they engage, the more they interact, the more they see you pop up on their timeline, in their feeds, on their either mobile phone or desktop or tablet or laptop, the more that they're going to connect with you and eventually convert. Because, after consuming so much time of your content, of hearing you, of, building trust, then that's when it's going to cause them to go ahead and convert. So like I was saying, business owners want to do a one-call close, but with online marketing, it doesn't work that way, because cold traffic needs trust. Cold traffic needs trust. I'll say it again, because when you run ads or create content, you're bringing in cold traffic primarily. And cold traffic, a cold audience doesn't know you. They don't trust you. They don't like you yet. So they need more exposure of your material. They need more exposure of your content. They need more exposure to you, because that's one thing as well as business owners got to understand, is that people buy into you. Here in Miami, we have dime a dozen, roofers, contractors, med spa owners, people that do all type of different things, so people not only buy the service and exactly what they need, but they also want to do business with people that they know, they like, and they trust. So that's why building trust, building yourself as an authority in your space and a leader in your industry is going to be key. And that's what we do with our organic marketing, our organic content, to make sure we position you in the right light, position you the way we got to position you in the marketplace to make it easier for people to transact with you. So cold traffic, they need exposure, they need trust, and they need authority, because people usually need to see your content multiple times before making a decision. So this includes content with like videos, posts, blog articles, testimonials, case studies. So that's why I'm saying everything in your business is going to be content, especially if you're getting wins, results for your clients. You got to document the process, the before, the after. You got to document the journey, of what the experience was. How was it on the front end before they worked with you? What led them to actually find you? And then what was the process for them to actually say, you know what, I'm going to do business with Noel. And then from there, what was the experience that you actually gave him after that? This past week, I was talking to a business owner, talking to him and his wife about marketing. And his wife was a personal trainer, and her husband, was kind of like a white glove concierge type of like travel agent. That's not your typical travel agency. And the thing about business owners is that they like to, dress up what it is that they do. But the more that you can simplify your message online and simplify what it is that you do for people, the easier it's going to be to attract the people that you're looking for. The more that we try to make this complex and make it complicated and make it like so robust and so like wow, that we want to wow people, that if we just keep it simple terms, then we're able to go ahead and with the right messaging, the right targeting, and being able to fill up your funnel and your pipeline. So going back to this couple, I was just sharing with them, my philosophy, my belief systems, when it comes to marketing and advertising and helping business owners, and expressing to him, because he basically takes a person by the hand, when they want to book a trip to Italy, and he's known as the mayor of Sorrento, Italy. Everybody knows him. He has all the connections, all the contacts, so he makes sure that he gets everything lined up for the people, for the experience over there. So more than just, okay, booking your flight, booking your hotel, and booking an excursion or two, like he handles the whole process from beginning to end, that every step of your your vacation of the experience is, top notch. And he's able to connect you with the right people, the right connections, his contacts over there. So I'm like, look, you got to be able to then document that journey, to showcase and highlight, when you're doing the maybe like a consultation call, or like a strategy session, or trying to do like discovery of what exactly that there is that they're looking for, and you can document that. How was it before they went on the trip? What were their questions, their fears, what do they want to do? And then you can document once they return from the trip and say, look, um, his name was Franco. Franco recommended this. He gave me this outline. He did X, Y, and Z. But you know what? After going there and experiencing it, our experience is 10 times, 100 times more than what we even could have imagined it. So I'm like, look, you got to create content, video, you got to get testimonials. You got to document the journey. You got to document the process of what it is that you do for clients. So then you can really draw, attract the right, qualified audience, and pay a premium for the services that you charge, because it's not like your typical travel agency. So for your business, we med spa, we your contractor, roofer, you can document how was the discovery aspect of it, and what did that client want to achieve, what was their goals, what do they want, how did they find you, how did they come in contact with you. And then the back end, once you deliver the service, once you deliver the product, once you deliver the experience, okay, now how was it compared to it was before you going into it? So a lot of these different things with reviews, video testimonials, case studies are great things to leverage within your business to create content around it. And with creating that content, then we can also leverage it to run ads and create retargeting ads. So then we're ensuring that we have content, we're doing ads to fill the funnel, and then we're retargeting both the people that have seen our content and have seen our ads. And that's the multiplier right there, is the retargeting, because then you're retargeting people that are connecting with your content, and you're retargeting the people that clicked your ad, went to your funnel, but they didn't fill out their form, they didn't book an appointment, and then you're retargeting them when they go to your website, if they read a blog. Then you're going to make sure that this is how we stay omnipresent in the game, that we're hitting them from all different sides, from different angles, with calls, text, emails, content, retargeting ads, you name it. We want to make sure we stay in front of that person, because especially depending on where they came in from the ad. If it's Google ad, local search ad, it's a higher intent buyer you have right there, because they're actually going out of the way to look for you, to search for your services. So you have higher intent when it comes on the Google side. Social media, Facebook, Instagram ads, is kind of the build awareness, get visibility. And then every now and then you'll find somebody that may be using social media to search, but for the most part, you're kind of interrupting them in their day. They're scrolling, and then boom, your ad pops up. So they're just getting exposed to you. So then from there, they check out what it is that you have to offer. They go to your social profiles. They check out your Instagram, check out your Facebook page, your Instagram, they look you up online, and they Google you. Then they ask ChatGPT about you. And that's, again, how we help you guys become omnipresent in your space. But, Google, let's say, is for higher intent. Meta ads is for awareness and visibility. But you need both, because then again, one feeds the other. They both feed each other. They all go back, tie into your organic marketing. And, you're just creating a 1-2 punch when you combine organic plus paid. It's not one or the other. It's both. BOAF. Both. You need both organic plus paid, because organic, helps you build awareness, build credibility, build your authority, build your online presence. And then the paid ads just help accelerate that, helps you to grow, scale. But going back to the top of the episode, you got to have the right system for the sales, for your sales process, for your lead management, and for your follow-up system. Because remember, marketing isn't just about generating leads, it's about nurturing them. You can't just be focused on the lead generation. You got to also focus on lead nurture and the follow-up process. So this is why you got to have a follow-up system. Once a lead enters your funnel, you got to ask yourself, what happens? Where does that lead go from there? Once they come into the funnel, okay, now who do they get assigned to? Do you have a sales rep? Do you personally coming back? Do you have a receptionist? Do you have somebody in the front desk? Depending on what service or what ad they click, who's the right person to do the outreach to them? Do you have email set up? Do you have a missed call text back set up? You have AI that can then actually engage with them in a two-way conversation and then book the appointment for you. Yeah, everybody, still wants to talk to somebody. I was speaking to a business owner this past week, presenting them a marketing proposal, and they're like, yeah, the AI receptionist is great, but right now we can kind of handle the calls, and people, I don't think are really ready for them to be able to, talk to an AI. They want to talk to a live person. But the idea about the AI, again, we cannot just automate everything and push everything to AI. We got to have balance, but at least the AI receptionist that we install, especially when we're running ads for your business, is to help you, create time and be able to block out your schedule. So you don't have to always be on top of the phone, especially if you're running around the office, you're doing customer service, you're fulfilling admin work, all these different things that business owners do, but then even their staff does as well. At least that way, the AI receptionist can handle the calls from the lead volume that we're bringing in. And then depending on if the availability of the front desk or the receptionist, then they can interject or take over the call at a certain point. But the idea is to kind of help you guys automate, systematize, and then respond to the lead in real time. So, because if you don't call back a lead, ideally within 5 minutes, then that's when you're going to be losing revenue. You're going to be losing appointments. You're going to be losing consultations. You're going to be losing that prospect to maybe your competitor, because if you don't answer, they're probably already on the phone trying to call the next person down the list to see if they can answer what it is that they're looking for. So automation, you got to have automation in the business. Automation, we use systems that trigger SMS follow-up, email sequences, or drip campaigns, appointment reminders, educational content that we can also use to prep them, for the appointment, for the consultation, for the job or the service that we're delivering them, helping them answer any questions that they have. So this is what keeps you top of mind. This is why I say that marketing is vital to every stage of the lead cycle. It's vital to every part of the marketing cycle, the business cycle, whatever you want to call it. Marketing can be used in so many different ways, not just the lead generation side. So when a business owner tells me, hey, look, I already have a marketing company that's doing XYZ for me, that's great, because we can handle other aspects that maybe they're not focusing on, because they just care about, posting content for you, shooting reels and posting videos, or just running the ads so you have your phone, ringing. But we can handle the back end of that to ensure that whatever it is that they're generating on the front end, we make sure that they don't fall through the cracks. We're not losing those leads. We're making sure that we're nurturing them. We want to make sure that we're converting them, but then we want to make sure that we're also retaining them, to keep having them keep coming back for repeat, residual, business, and then they can give us referral business as well. So you want to make sure to have a good follow-up system. You got to have AI, and you got to have a CRM. A CRM helps track the lead source, where that lead come from, which was the best marketing channel that they were generated from, the service interest, what is it that they were looking for, what is it that they wanted, the follow-up status, do I got to call them back in a day, in 2 days, a week from now, 2 weeks from now. You can also use it to put any notes on there, and of course, what was the conversion outcome. So these AI tools can answer inquiries, qualify leads, book appointments, and nurture prospects. So your CRM is one aspect of of my framework of convertibility. The CRM helps you kind of manage yourself, manage the leads, to ensure that you don't write down a piece of paper and then you forget to call them back when they ask you to call them back. You can send reminders. You can block it on your schedule. You can set up drip campaigns, text automations. You can send appointment reminders, and then we have AI tools that's able to then nurture, reach out, and of course interact to be able to qualify the leads that we're generating. So you kind of want to have all your bases covered when it comes to this marketing game, because like I always say, it's not just one thing they got to do, it's multiple things. That's why it's a system working all together to make sure that we're getting you the results that you're looking for. So the great thing about marketing is that it's not guesswork. Marketing is supposed to give us data, from which the data then we're able to do optimization. It's marketing is data driven. Marketing is about the numbers, and it's about the data. It's about the metrics. It's about the things that we're tracking. I want to make sure that we track the leads that we're generating, the calls that are getting booked, the appointments that are getting scheduled, the sales that we're closing, we want to measure, and track the cost per lead and the cost per acquisition. How much are we putting into the system and how much are we getting back? What's the ROI? What's the cost per lead? What's the cost per acquisition? Because in marketing, he who spends the most wins the most. In marketing, it comes to the investment that you're putting to get in front of your ideal audience and your ideal, prospect that you want to land, that you want to attract, that you want to bring in, for your business. So in marketing, he who spends the most of the times wins the most, because if you're willing to outspend your competitors, if you're willing to outspend them in order to outspend, but provide a great organic content and run the ads and then have a follow-up system, the sales process, then you're going to win, 100% of the time, and you're able to outperform your best competitors. So the good thing about marketing, online marketing, digital marketing, is that it provides us with metrics, analytics, data, and this allows us to improve our messaging, helps us to optimize campaigns, and helps us to redefine targeting. So without tracking, you can't improve. Whatever you don't track, you can't improve, because we got to make sure that we're being on top of our numbers, and then we're using the numbers, the metrics, the analytics help us optimize messaging, campaigns, structure, offers, you name it. What is it that people are connecting with? What do we need to double down on? And then over time, we're able to see that. So a lot of time with business owners, I speak with them and I tell them it's a good 3 to 6 month minimum process to get started, is because the first month we're just kind of putting everything together. The second month, we're finally going out there to the marketplace. By months 3 to 6, then we start producing results, because then we have data, we have metrics, we have analytics that we can then start using to start building more of a predictable lead flow for your business. Coming out of the gate on month 1, you want to become $1 million business overnight. It's not going to happen. And again, we have nothing to really gauge you from, like there's nothing there. So how can we produce so many great results? We can always look at industry standards, more or less 1 to 3% rule. And this is what we're going to average it. But again, on the front end, it's just all, best guess scenario. We're just, estimating. But once we start running the system, getting the system built, getting it installed, getting it running for your business, then we start collecting the data, the information, to be able to then gauge if it's working or it's not. So here's a rule many sales professionals understand, is that for follow-up, you got to do 8 to 12 touches to close a deal. In today's crowded digital world, when everything is fighting for our attention, it may take even now up to, it can take up to 15 or more touches to get somebody on the phone, get them to answer an email, get them to answer a DM, so many different things that they just get easily distracted by. So that's why, as business owners, as sales professionals, we gotta be relentless in the follow-up game. That's where the true money is made, is in the follow-up. It's not in generating the leads is going to help you fill up your funnel, help you fill up the pipeline. But what's going to actually help you to close is going to be the actual follow-up system that we integrate into your business. Because you got to follow up, as the saying in sales that says, follow up until they buy or until you die. One of the two. Who's going to wear the other person out first? You're going to take a no for an answer and just give up on the deal and lose it? Or you're going to keep following up, keep staying top of mind, but being creative with your follow-up, having a reason to follow up, not calling and saying, I'm here to follow up with you, but it's about having creativity in the follow-up to be able to then, get that deal closed. So you got to keep following up until they buy, until they say no, or until they unsubscribe. But you got to get, closure from that lead, because you're already investing a lot of money in the front end to get that lead. You got their contact information. We got to hit them from all different sides and angles. And then we got to get closure. It's like, okay, you ready to do business with us? Yes or no? So we got to get an answer to that. If we're just paying to market just to generate leads, but we're not following up, we don't have a sales process, we're not tracking our numbers, we're not, optimizing our campaigns, then that's how leads fall through the cracks when there is no system. So before running more ads, before increasing marketing budgets, businesses must fix their system. This includes getting your CRM set up, making sure you know how your leads can get routed once they're coming in, have automated follow-up in place. You want to have AI assistants or AI receptionists already installed. You can try it out, see how it works. And then we got to have a clear sales process. because more leads will not fix a broken system. So lead generation is important. That's the name of the game, because you got to always be filling the top of the funnel. You got to always be filling that up to ensure we have opportunities, the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year to be going after. Because once we start getting all the leads, then we can have systems in place start following up, nurturing to convert those leads. So lead generation is important, but lead management is where the money is made. So before a business asks for more leads, they got to ask themselves, do we have the system to handle more leads? Do we have the system to handle them? And once they start coming in, the lead volume increases, then get out of hand. I know, but I've seen it. We've done it for business owners. We've done it for businesses. So marketing isn't just one side about getting the leads. It's about nurturing them, to convert them, and then to retain them. So it's not just about generating, but it's about nurturing, converting, and building long-term relationships with those leads. Eventually, they become clients, they become almost as family. So that's the thing I wanted to share with you guys. I want to make sure I come in here and let you know that, look, marketing isn't just tactics, isn't just services, but it's actually a system. It's actually a system that has to get installed into your business to make it work and to make it profitable. Because all marketing works as long as you don't give up on the marketing, as long as you don't try to, hit the ball, out of the stadium on the first pitch and try to, win the game in the first minute of the game, or the first minute of the quarter. If you come in with the right strategy in place, that's why it's important to have a strategy to your marketing. It's not just posting randomly, trying to run ads and outspend everybody. No, it's about having the right strategy in place. The strategy is what's going to keep us focused. It's going to keep us with the deliverables and keep us focused on the daily activities, targets that we got to hit. We can measure it. How are we performing? How are we ranking? Well, how many leads are generating? How many clicks are we getting? How many of those clicks are actually turning into booked appointments? So there's so many different components to this. So if you guys want to get an audit on your business, if you guys want to learn more and see how we can help you install this marketing growth system, just give us a comment below or send me a DM. I'd love to be able to work with you guys, help to learn more about your business, and then be able to help you guys, grow it, build it, and scale it. So my closing statement here, before I sign off, is most businesses focus on the top of the funnel, which is lead generation, generating more leads for the business, but they ignore everything that happens after the lead comes in. So you have to understand that it's not just, get me more leads, Noel, get me more leads, more people, more contacts. No, it's okay. We got to understand, once we start that aspect, is okay, what happens after we generate that lead? What comes after that? Because that's going to determine the true success to your marketing strategy. So I want to make sure you guys understand that clearly. So it's about lead management, a certain piece, and that goes through the cracks. So marketing, well, love to connect. Hope I was able to this value and information. And if you guys get more tactical, actually want to have a strategy for business, love to connect with you guys. Make sure you put it, and if you have, drop them down in the comment section. Make sure you guys like, review, and subscribe to the podcast and to my YouTube channel. Follow me on all the social profiles. Ensure that, you're getting, the hard truth, the hard facts when it comes to marketing and advertising. And we would love to work with you, become your marketing growth partner to ensure that we're helping you, grow the business that you envision building one day. So I'll catch you guys on next episode of Marketing Mondays. This is Noel with the Soaring High Marketing Network. Over and out, guys. On to the next one.